things that we as a board are struggling with, and as we get reports, are with regard to discipline. So do you find that the problems with discipline that you've dealt with have decreased as a result of these? He's ready.
That's me.
And you didn't set me up with a question either.
And that's part of this data process that you're talking about. Seeing where this is, we know what we wanted it to look like, but seeing where it really is right now is what's really special about it. Because kids now are coming to school. They're actually there and attending these classes where before they weren't. They were dropping the class because it didn't have any value. It didn't lead anywhere. So now they are coming to school. They're being engaged in that work because you know why? They've got a certification. They got college hours writing off. They've got value, and they've got potential of going out and grabbing money. Not only that they're coming to school, they're not a discipline issue. Because if you're creating your school properly, if they don't do what they're supposed to, they get fired. That's what happens in the real world. So that's the big pieces of the change in culture of what we're talking about in education. It doesn't form off of a discipline policy. In fact, it factors into what the job and business people want. If you don't do your job, you're going to get fired. If you don't come to work, you're going to get fired. So that's the whole concept.
And graduation rates, have you been in it long enough to see if that is, if your graduation rates are improving with particularly your TAG group?
Particularly the TAG group, and we're not improving there. We're right at, it hasn't been in long enough to really get into that at this point. But right now, our graduation rates remain at 94%.
Oh, and sort of as an anecdote to what Dr. Barth was asking, I had a couple of parents who have children involved with things, and one of their children had gotten a CNA because she didn't want to have debt while she was going to college, so she did that. And the mother said, because she's doing that, I don't have to work my second job anymore, so I have time to volunteer over at the food bank, which she had always wanted to do. So I think it becomes a whole family can now have some free time to breathe and do something that they enjoy and that they have a heart to do. So I was pleased to hear that report from her as well. Thank you.
Great. If there are no further questions, I know Mr. Poor is going to summarize with some information for us. But before we do that, we have a problem with our live streaming, but I plan to take a 10-minute break so we can have the visuals put back up and people will have an opportunity to mingle and look at those. So is that in the core of the presentation?
That is. Thank you.
Great, and thank you. It's very exciting for Arkansas education. We'll take a 10-minute break, and I'll tell you what, we'll take a 15-minute break and resume at 10:30.
Great job. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. How are you?
Would you come? It's on now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to address you as a state board and in some ways addressing the larger community this morning as first opportunity, at least with all of you, as the person that's been given an opportunity to lead the Little Rock School District. So I appreciate it. I'm very honored that the commissioner has asked me to be a part of the Little Rock School District and have excited about what the opportunities are. It's been a really amazing month, as you can probably imagine, and it's hard to think that, have you ever take a step back and you kind of look and say, wow, it has been a month, because in some ways it feels like it's been a week. In other ways, it feels like it's been a couple years. But it feels very good to be with you today. It has been an amazing month in Bentonville. For me, as I kind of continue to wrap up, I have a responsibility and want to leave those folks saying, boy, we're missing him at the very last day. And so that means I need to go continue to do a good job in Bentonville as the superintendent there. But the second thing is I'm starting to wear the hat of the Little Rock superintendent and working with Mr. Curris. And so it's been exciting to make trips. There's so many opportunities right now that happen on a day-to-day basis for folks to have to come to Little Rock anyway. And so I've tied in trips of business for Bentonville with doing things then also for the Little Rock School District. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, Mr. Curris and I worked on hiring a human resource director that we hope to have in place next week. So that was really neat, and I had offered that as an option to Mr. Curtis. It seems to me, as we're moving forward, it would be really neat as you try to explore, what role you want to take. Let's do these interviews together. What better way for us to not only benefit from the two different minds, two different way of people thinking, but also look at our own leadership and then looking at leadership that we're trying to bring in. And he said yes, and I'm very appreciative of that, and that's been a good start. Mr. Curtis and I have had multiple times that we're talking and engaging, and every bit of that time is valued to me. And I appreciate the level of support that he's provided me, as well as the level of support that I'm already getting from the staff of the Little Rock School District. An exciting moment for me this week was yesterday. I got the cell phone numbers of every principal in the Little Rock School District. And so that was an exciting thing for me, because this weekend that's what I'm going to do. I got a new cell phone from the Little Rock School District, which I'll get today. And so I'll be able to call them from a Little Rock School District cell phone and to reach out to those principals. And I'm excited about that. One of the things that I think you now have in front of you from Mr. Gocher, the Assistant Commissioner, is my entry plan. And you can see that the title of my entry plan is a Listen and Learn entry plan. And there have been people that have actually, and maybe you've even heard that, said, well, an entry plan? How can you have an entry plan? And I look at it kind of maybe a little bit differently, and I'll share that in the fact that I think a leader needs to put himself out there in terms of a responsibility. Now, my responsibility right now is to listen and learn, and you can see I've tried to make that very apparent right even in the title, to say I've got to be out there and hear what people are saying. But I also need to be held accountable for those actions. And so what better way than to put them on display? And I think that's something that is needed for this community, and probably even for you as a state board, is to have plans that are put in front of you that move things forward. And obviously there's a lot of plans that need to come to work to continue to address getting our schools off of the list of being poor performing, and it also getting back into a local control situation. So, but that's going to take a little bit. I hope you can be patient with me on that part, but I know you need a plan. I also know that this particular entry plan sets me up as a target to be able to come back to you after the first day of students and say, here's how I did. I think that's good, because accountability oftentimes is looked at as a negative word. I don't look at it that way. Accountability to me is an option, an opportunity to celebrate, because my plan is to do this and do it well, and to come back to you with targets and actually grade my performance and put that out. Not everyone will probably agree with my level of how I've gauged my own performance, but you're going to see it, and then you'll be able to make your own judgments and say, he got an A, and I agree, he got an A on that category, or he got a C, and I might even get a D. I don't know. I hope not, but if I do, I'm going to be real about it and put that on display to all of you. So the the target of this entry plan is really about outreach. It's about trying to understand and capture where people would like our district to go. And I'm excited to join you as a part of helping lead Little Rock School District to get back into a situation where there's local control. Ms. President, I'll turn it back to you and see if there's any questions that you all would like to ask.
Well, I don't know what to say. I'd like to say I won't be here to work with you, but I think, you know, the time has come for me to make my exit along with Ms. Savers. I hope that what we've done in the period of time we've been members of the board is to have an example of what we'd like to see in school districts throughout the state, and that's to have opportunities for everyone to succeed and not just have pockets of excellence. And I thank you for your energy and your attitude and your positive attitude in light of a lot of things that could have turned it sour. I hope that you stay encouraged. I hope that you stay the course, and I wish you much success, and I'll watch you from afar. Is all I can say at this point, because as you come, I'll be leaving. So just waiting for the party. Any other comments by board members at this point? Dr. Barth.
That's good. Thank you. Thanks for spending time with us today. And I also look forward to getting to know you better. I did just want to ask, and I think your strategy here for getting to know a community makes good sense. It makes, and getting to know an organization. I mean, I think it's what any leader, the kinds of things any good leader would do, and I appreciate your thoughtfulness in laying it out. The thing that I just want to talk about, though, is what we saw yesterday, which is a tremendous amount of pain and frustration and distrust on the part of those who were here yesterday, but they are not alone. I mean, it's been multiple times every day. I've over the last very long month where similar comments have been made, and so my question is, and what I don't see here is maybe an explicit strategy for grappling with that distrust and pain that is part of this atmosphere into which you're arriving.
Well, I hope when you get to really fully review the document that I think you'll see that all those efforts really are about trying to build a trust level that gives me a chance to work and interact. I know that, you know, right now has been a challenging month. That's obvious, and the one thing that I've made me feel, in some ways you may say, well, that's kind of strange that you'll think that way, but I look at it as there's a lot of people that are very passionate about the Little Rock School District right now. And that's an opportunity if we capture that passion and we create the appropriate level of collaboration, which I'm hoping that my entry plan suggests helps move that forward, because if we get collaboration, then all the things that are the targets and goals of folks that have this deep passion, all of a sudden we start to create some realities of Little Rock School District being something that shines. One of the things that I think a part of where we're at, and it doesn't directly address your comment, but there's so many wonderful things that are going on in Little Rock School District right now at this very moment that haven't been out there enough. And I've some of the media will tell you is they did their one-on-one interviews with me several weeks ago. I challenged them. This young lady right here to my right was a tough interview, and I told her that you know I'm going to be in front of you and I'm going to work with you to take on challenging topics, but I'm also, when I come to you with positive news about the district, we need to get that out as well. So there's a lot of things that are going on that are really good. So this whole trust level doesn't happen overnight. This is just one aspect of moving things forward to create a trust level for the leader as the superintendent of the schools. And then I think the work that people do together, and they continue to see things that show here's real plans that have been collaboratively put together that meet targets that this community has. I think that also is going to help with the trust issues. Ultimately, more than anything, the community wants to have their school district back and have it back in local control. And I hope I'm a person that can help make those things a reality.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Poore, and I know I'm in the unique position here that I actually do know you, and so I'm excited to be able to work with you in this capacity after our work together up in Northwest Arkansas, and by a pure Little Rock moment, I actually had the opportunity to get a preview last night of his presentation that I was so sorry to miss this morning, but sat right down next to each other, and we're able to have a little bit of a conversation, and so it's toward that lights, and to bring some of that here, and then to piggyback on what my colleague Dr. Barth said. There are two committees, and I know you're aware of this, and again, it's not listed here, but with the intentionality and also for the purpose of the public, right, knowing that we're trying to connect the dots, that we will have the Citizen Advisory Board, and we will also have the to-be-branded South of the River Board, that are doing a lot of this strategic thinking that you're also talking about. And so I just want to lay out aspirationally the hope that, as you're doing this entry-level plan, that is one that actually could be in part developed with them, because these are new entities that are actually coming on board the same time you are. And so that maybe this is a strategic process that you all could do together, so that we don't get different silos of planning, but that actually it's a coordinated plan that's really trying to leverage a lot of different voices and actors and fleshing out some important nuances. And it's along that lines as well, I would say, though, to not just stop there. And again, I know my colleague Dr. Barth said it, but I think right now, and also from the purview of what I do in my day job of working with especially the immigrant community in Southwest Little Rock, it's going to take more than an invitation to a town hall for them to come out. And so I think a lot of proactiveness, starting to build that small pockets, as you said, of relationships, excellence, use that to spread the word, use members of the community themselves to spread the word, to build folks out, I think is the type of step-by-step process. And I say that aspiration because town halls generally haven't produced on education the kind of results that we would like to see, and it is because in part of some of the lack of information, concern not knowing where to start, and then offering as well for again, the constituency that I've worked with, a large part of this population now, and you know this with the work up in Northwest Arkansas, is now our Hispanic population. So also making things available in other languages. And I will say the face of Little Rock LRSD is changing even with other immigrant groups and such, and so conscientiousness around that. And then my final word is one of saying amongst the different allies, I hope you will consider us as well, one in this, in your plan, and we stand ready to work alongside you and the district in this process. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And if I could respond, just one of the points that you'll read in the entry plan is to engage with the community advisory board that's going to be developed by the commissioner. And I'm excited about that board coming together and what that would create in terms of an opportunity to help with some of the planning and also helping think out loud of just different options and opportunities we may have of moving forward. So I see that being an exciting time in August. The other thing that I'll mention, I think you're exactly right, is that so often many of the people that are disengaged in the school system right now possibly even have young people that in their family that are saying, where is my child right now? I'm not sure how well they're doing. They may have had those same experiences as a young person, and so there's a distrust of sometimes of public education. And so the outreach to them is really critical. And so you'll see as a part of this entry plan that there are walks to go into neighborhoods. And unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish, but I will have a translator with me so that, as I encounter Spanish-speaking families, that I will be able to talk with them. You also see there's calls, 10 a day. Now, I know this is aggressive in my mind. I hope you will feel it's aggressive too, but I think aggressive action is needed in terms of engaging the community right away. And so, the 10 calls a day, and those are going to be everything from people saying, hey, I want this guy to call me, or me randomly calling parent list or randomly calling students list so that I can talk to folks. And then the final thing that I've never done before is a Twitter town hall. And so, we do it in education all the time right now as a professional development activity. Our teacher of the year knows about this, that, we go out and we pose a question and then people are able to explode on Twitter. I'm hoping that my people that are following me on Twitter kind of explode as a result of this. That would be a good sign. And that another form of engagement that people may want to have of just using their cell phones to be able to present some things that they see are really necessary ingredients to help us move forward.
Another question, Ms. Dean?
Just have a comment. Just want to express how excited I am with this new transition. I know yesterday there were a few parents and a few people who expressed a loss of hope with the transition with Baker Curris to your position as superintendent, but I see it the opposite. I have gained a lot of hope with you being in this position, and I'm looking forward to the new gains and grounds that we will take with the Little Rock School District. So I'm excited.
Thank you, Ms. Dean.
Anything, Mr.
I am a bit empathetic with you in that when I first started as an administrator was when the public law for special education and students being served in the public schools. And fortunately, I worked with a mentor who told me they don't care what you know until they know that you care. And so I did a lot of that door-to-door, working with administrators. The parents were thrilled, but with administrators and reluctant, how are we going to do this? How are we going to afford this? All of those kind of things. So I do appreciate the fact that you are walking into a situation where you will have to listen. I appreciate the fact that you included that as your listen and learn. I know through this whole 18 months, I've spent a lot of time listening to parents, and I can echo what Ms. Dean said, that there are lots and lots of people out there who are very exciting and excited and positive and hopeful, and It always surprised me when they were complimenting a superintendent for coming to the schools and getting to know people, because I've had the fortune, I've always worked for superintendents who did that, and I commend Mr. Curris for that, and I know that's your pattern as well. So welcome, and we look forward to working with you.
One of the fun things about being a superintendent is I got to go kindergarten graduation 2 nights ago for Sugar Creek Elementary, and they were dressed up in a sock hop outfit and singing songs, and I just loved it. I got to hear a high school band concert. That's me. I think it's one of the things that helps recharge me on a day-to-day basis, just to go see kids and teachers doing good things. That's in the classroom and that's out of the classroom. So that's who I am, and I think like you said, most of our superintendents are that way. Good superintendents are that way, and hold me accountable to that as I head towards you in Little Rock.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we'll have report 5, Jason Young, Arkansas Equitable Access Strategy for Teacher and Principal Leadership.
Tell them to calm down.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Sandra Hurst. I am the Director of Educator Effectiveness here at the State Department of Education. And I actually work for and with Assistant Commissioner Ivy Pfeffer. And we have been given the opportunity to work with the Arkansas Equitable Access Plan. And one of the strategies in that plan had to do with teacher and teacher and administrator leadership. And so we have partnered with the Arkansas Leadership Academy in one of those strategies to help ensure that our students have access to effective teachers all over the state. So I'm going to introduce to you Amanda, and I'm going to have her come up and then introduce this team that we have here today from Sylvan Hills Elementary.
Well, on behalf of Mr. David Cook, our director, it's a lovely pleasure to be here today to get to talk a little bit about this partnership and also to focus on the incredible work that's happening in Sylvan Hills Elementary. The Leadership Academy is celebrating its 25th year of existence, and we're so proud of that. And what we know over 25 years is that, what's happening in schools is no less complex and probably even more complex than it has been in quite a while. And, you know, one of the unique things about the Leadership Academy is we believe in a systems approach. We believe that in order to make improvements in schools that are sustainable and that, you know, really have the power to last, that you have to build capacity across the whole system. And so that includes not just dynamic superintendents and district office people and principals, but that also includes dynamic teachers and students, all speaking the same language, all using common tools and processes in order to make their schools better. And with this opportunity and this idea that the systems approach, we also have continued to think about the fact that there should be multiple entry points into leadership, that the problems are so challenging that the principal and assistant principals on the school level can't handle everything alone, nor should they. And so when we say multiple points of entry into leadership, we're talking about the opportunity to lead from the classroom and then outside the classroom, both formally and informally for teacher leaders. And so that's really been an exciting thing to be able to explore, well, what does that look like? And how can the Academy help support that work statewide? So currently, the Arkansas Leadership Academy's Teacher Leadership Institute is a one-year experience. And what happens is when people come together, it's an application process, and over the course of a year, they build knowledge, they build tools that will make them not only more effective classroom teachers, but also help them be those leaders within their school. Our philosophy is that we meet people where they are, and we help them get better, and we help them grow in their leadership. For the last several years, we've had a waiting list. We don't have enough seats to serve the number of people, the number of teachers who want to attend the Institute. Not to mention the fact that we don't have the capacity at this point to offer a second and third year. So basically, you know, you have these people who are really hungry for this experience, these teacher leaders, and they get this 1 year. And we do as much as we can in that year to help not just build their capacity in that year, but help them see what are my future steps in order to continue to develop as a leader. So when Sandra and Ivy came to us with this idea of partnering with the department and looking at what would be the impact of sending a team of teachers through the Institute. Because currently, because of our numbers, most of the time only 1 or 2 teachers per school can attend. And so, like I said, the concept here was that we would focus on principals who were currently attending year 1 of the Master Principal Institute, and then we would invite those principals to select 5 teachers from their school. We didn't give them specific criteria. We just visited with them to talk a little bit about the Teacher Institute and give them an idea of what might be, who might be the best fit for the type of learning experience that the Teacher Institute is. And so out of that also, we were able to think about, well, what might a year 2 and what might a year 3 look like? So this time last year, Mr. Cook and I were able to meet with Ivy and Sandra and to present to them a plan. You know, what does it look like after we send these team of teachers through the first year or the Essential Teacher Leadership Institute, but we have an opportunity to then have them move forward as a cohort into a year 2 experience and then into a year 3 experience. What will that do in terms of building their leadership capacity? What will that do in terms of building the system at their school? And what will that do in terms of helping sustain jobs, sustain teachers in places maybe where, you know, traditionally there may have been some turnover and other things. So we are in the year 1 of this particular approach. And so these 6, we have 6 schools. Those 30 teachers have attended or are in the process have attended Teacher Institute this year. They'll be finishing up at the end of June. And we would invite any of you to come and visit those sessions if you'd like to see the wonderful work that's happening. So they are attending with schools, you know, teachers from schools that will only be there 1 year. So they're in with these other teachers. But then we'll be moving forward, like I said, as a cohort to build on what they've learned this year in year 1 of the Teacher Institute, and to deepen that knowledge, but then also to expand their skills in terms of working with other adults in their building, in adult development, also to extend and expand tools such as action research and other site-based tools we know help teachers know about their students and know about the work they're doing. And we have witnessed this just to be a very powerful form of adult development. And we're excited about the fact that we're getting to explore what it would look like, to follow these teachers through a second and third year. And we hope that that would become a model that would be available to more teachers, not just the teachers that are the focus of this particular group and this partnership with the department. Currently, our 6 schools that we're serving, East Poinsett County High School, Hall High School here in Little Rock, Marion Elementary over in eastern Arkansas, Kilpatrick and Fairview Elementaries in Texarkana, Arkansas School District, and then the people who will be sharing with you in just a moment, Sylvan Hills Elementary. Like I said, this has been a tremendous opportunity for us, and we are excited about the potential and hope that we can continue this program, bring another cohort of teachers in next year, or this coming year, and continue to collect information, collect feedback, so that we're looking at how do we strengthen the core teacher core in Arkansas, and how do we use this as an opportunity to bring more people into the teaching profession and keep them there to make great schools. So I'll turn it over now to Mr. Jason Young, the principal at Sylvan Hills Elementary.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to come talk to you today. I just want to take a moment to thank Amanda and Sandra for choosing us to participate in this, because it has truly been just a wonderful opportunity for our school. It's amazing because when you look back at the beginning of this year, our school, we voted and decided to become an Arkansas A+ school. We applied for that and started that process of becoming an Arkansas A+ school. And then at the same time, I was debating on whether to start my doctorate or, if I wanted to start and go to Master Principals Institute. And so I was kind of weighing that out, talking to my wife about the workload of both and trying to figure it out. And I decided in the middle of that what I really wanted to do was I felt like I needed to do something for my school before I did something for myself. And so that's why I chose to go through the Master Principals Institute first. And then when they asked me about the possibility of, taking 5 teachers and going through this process at the same time that I was going through it, my eyes just opened, because now I would have people that would, we could have those conversations with, not just wait until after I completed a year of Master Principals, but have those conversations, those rich conversations during the day, as we were going through the year. And I think that, it just helped build capacity so much quicker among my staff. I'm just excited about even hopefully bringing more teachers into the Teacher Institute. And I brought some teachers with me today, and I want them to share with you and their experiences and what they've seen. This is my team. The way they were chosen, honestly, I was looking for teachers that just dripped with awesomeness. I picked teachers that were in the process of becoming nationally board certified, or they were nationally board certified. They were spread out among my schools so that they could have conversations in their PLC, so that they could meet with their teams and help guide them and share with them what they were learning, so that it would cause a fire within my building. And so that's what we've done. I want to introduce you Mashana Lunnan, Kelly Moss, Stephanie Beelan, Courtney Pigg, and Amy Gray. So I'm going to let them come speak to you.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Moss, and I am a National Board Certified teacher, and I guess when I was in the classroom, maybe I did drip with awesomeness, I don't know. But when I left the classroom to be the literacy instructional facilitator at Sylvan Hills Elementary a few years ago, I did not feel like I dripped with awesomeness in any way. I felt like I floundered all of the time trying to figure out what was this job that I was supposed to do to lead. Because just because you can teach well in the classroom doesn't always transfer to outside of the classroom. And getting 6-year-olds to do what I wanted them to do and teach them to read is a lot different than getting tenured teachers on board with what my principal has guided us to do. And so for the first 2 or 3 years, I spent a lot of time reflecting, but I didn't have any way to channel that reflection and have a guided approach to what I needed to do. I thought, well, this needs to be fixed, try this, and this needs to be fixed and try this. And the first time that we went to the session at the Institute, I just had a revelation about how the things that I was doing needed to change, and the tools, I was given the tools to be able to make that change. We reflected, we went back to school, and it was full on beginning of the school year, and I'm sorry, Amanda, but my notebook set to the side for a little while. And right before we got ready to go back to session 2, I pulled my journal out, and I pulled my notebook out, and I pulled my reflections out, and I realized that everything I had written at that first session that I was going to do, I had not gone back and done. The day that I pulled it out and looked at, my goal was to try to relieve some of the overwhelmingness that teachers experience at the beginning of the year. Was the same day a teacher came to me and said, I can't breathe. I'm so overwhelmed. And I thought, boy, I've accomplished my anti-goal. I've hit them with everything, every PLC that was being pushed down that needed to go. And so I met with Mr. Young, and we talked, and I got ready to go back to Institute, and I was able to really look at those tools and apply those to how I had been successful, but most importantly, how I had not been successful. And that has changed me. I can't imagine at this point being finished and not being able to go back for year 2 and 3, because as a literacy facilitator, I am nowhere near dripping with awesomeness yet. And I need this. I think one of the biggest things about it being a team approach is that one of these ladies serves on almost every one of the grade level teams. There's a few teams without one of these ladies on it. But I knew when I was sitting across the table and I'm trying to use this tool, and I'm trying to bring about the change and reduce the overwhelmingness that teachers are feeling, that they were there with me. They understood what I was going for, and they were there as my support. I'm not looked at as one in the trenches anymore. I don't have 25 kids assigned to me. They do. And their teachers, their team looks up to them. So I know Mayshana would like to share. She has been a powerful force on her team, just based on knowing, how to get that going and using those tools too.
Good morning. This podium's kind of high. First, let me say, Kelly Moss, she does drip with awesomeness just in her own way. Being able to go to the Institute and really experience that has been awesome. As she said, being able to sit in our PLCs and knowing for her, not just for her, but for us, but there's somebody there that has that like mindset. Looking at these ladies, I'm sort of the newest kid on the block. And coming in as a new teacher, one of the biggest things that it's given me is an opportunity to really think through things. We talked about design thinking a lot. And it was a really good way when we're sitting in the trenches of those PLC meetings and the other teachers are around us, and it's that time of year where they're like, I don't want to hear anything else you have to say. But really sitting there and being able to talk to them and say, hey, let's look at what the issue really is, and let's keep moving and let's move forward. Let's not get stopped and stuck in this rut. Let's use our design thinking and figure out how we can really make an effort to make things better for our school. And through that, we've actually been able to pilot a really awesome program that Miss Stephanie Beelan is going to tell us about. It's Reteach and Enrich.
Good morning. I just want to real quickly just mention how we have piloted a program in 3rd grade and 1st grade. Mr. Young came to us. Our math skills were struggling. In our district, we were scoring below the district level when we were taking our formative assessments that we take about every 6 weeks. And so he saw something online, showed a video to us, and said, going to Leadership Academy made me realize we can do this. And so I watched the video with him and I said, I think we can. And it's a program where I got together with my team. I said, our math skills are struggling. We've got to figure out a way to fix it. So we created very short weekly assessments. Our students take a test. We sit down for about 10, 15 minutes. We split the kids up, the whole grade level and how they did on their test. And then we make a group of students that need to be retaught the skill And in addition, we make a group of students that are doing very well, and we push them even further. So at the end of the week, for about a 30-minute lesson, we design exactly what they need on that particular math skill, including Mr. Young. He takes a group, which is the coolest place in the world to go to the principal's office for their reteach group, and they always come back with candy from his group too. So, anyways, but our biggest success, I feel like, is that we kept saying, oh, what are we going to do about these math skills? And as soon as we implemented it, our very first formative assessment that we took after that, we beat the district average, and have ever since we implemented it in our school.
To talk about Reteach and Enrich, that's just one action plan that we put in place. For me, going to Master Principals Institute, one of the things was I had all these great ideas, but I didn't know how to put them in place. And so, as a principal, I would have these ideas, and I would go and talk to the staff, and we'd talk about it, and we'd meet about it, and sometimes we meet some more about it because we like to meet, but nothing got done with it. And so what Action Research has really helped me do was to drive what we were going to do, and I wouldn't have that if I hadn't gone at least through year one of Master Principals Institute. So I'm very thankful for that, and that's why I'm in the process of applying for year two. So that's Sylvan Hills Elementary. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Do we have any questions, board? No, board?
Just compliments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. We appreciate
Keep the good work up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any follow-up by staff? Okay. We'll move then to Report 6, Arkansas Teacher of the Year Report. Ms. Newton?
I want to take a second and say one of the big parks that I've had a lot of things happen this year that have been wonderful for me, but one of them is the opportunity to go to the Arkansas Leadership Academy. I've gotten to go to the Teacher Institute, and as a teacher, I would encourage any teacher in the state to sign up and attend. It just, for me, refocused my attention on why did I get into this profession in the first place, and then the action plans, being able to go and make a difference. I'm not in a district right now, but when I get to wherever I'm going, to be able to have the tools and the skills to actually implement and to make a difference. So I would definitely encourage anyone to make the effort and apply to become a part of the Teacher Institute. This month, as far as my blog for the department, I focused on the K-12 science standards. You know that you approved the new science standards, and I would encourage you, if you haven't taken a chance, to read through it. It gives you a good overview of what they're about and how different they are. Main things that have changed as far as that they were developed from using a basis of the next generation science standards, and the differences between them and what the Arkansas standards are. The committee added Arkansas clarification statements and assessment boundaries for several of the standards. This gives clarity and direction for the teacher on actually implementing and teaching them in the classroom. They took the next generation science standards. The middle school and high school standards were in grade bands. Well, the committee took those grade bands and then put them into grade specific. Instead of having all middle school, they took it and put, this is what a 7th grader needs, this is what an 8th grader needs, and so on. So they made it more specific for the teachers. And then the next generations were aligned to the Common Core as far as math and literacy, since we've now adopted Arkansas math and Arkansas literacy standards. These new Arkansas science standards will be aligned to those also. So that will make it easier for teachers. One of the main differences that I want to point out to you on science standards is these are different than any science standards we've had in Arkansas before. Before, the science standards were very factoid based. The students learned facts, they regurgitated those facts, and that was what our science standards are about. That is not what these are. These are totally different. Teachers are going to need new teaching skills. They're going to need different resources because these are going to ask students to reason about science. They're going to ask them to think critically. They're going to ask them to do science, not just to sit and get information about science. And so teachers are going to need support. They're going to need help to be able to make this transition in teaching. And that would be if I was going to encourage a district to do anything. And Michelle Snyder is a wonderful, I don't think she's in here, but she was so helpful on me getting this information together, and she would be a great contact. But that would be the thing that I would encourage a district to make sure as you transition to the new standards is making sure the teachers have those skills that they need to be able to teach science the way the standards intend. It's not sit and get from a textbook. That's not what these are about. It is learning to think critically, and it's going to tie right into the ACT Aspire and the ACT test because that is an assessment of students to be able to think critically about science. It's a science reasoning exam, and so that's what these new standards are about. And so if you get a chance, read through it. It'll get you more familiar with the changes in the science standards. The last couple of weeks, I've gotten some other great opportunities. I got to go to the South Central Co-op and the Dawson Educational Co-op to speak to their superintendents about the Teacher of the Year applications. They're online, and it still encourage teachers for districts to nominate a teacher to apply. The process of just going through the application is just like the Teacher Leadership Institute is great for reflecting on why are you in the profession, how can it make you better. And the other great thing that Ms. Kaufman and Ms. Friedman invited me to do this last week was to go to Hope and to visit a third grade classroom. Now you're asking, what can a secondary math teacher learn from a third grade classroom? Well, I'm telling you, I learned a lot. She'd been teaching 43 years. Her name is Cynthia Murphy. She is awesome. I wish every new teacher that was coming out of college to enter the teaching profession could go and spend a week with Miss Murphy. She is fantastic. Her classroom, you've heard the expression, runs like a well-oiled machine. Well, she wrote the book on well-oiled machines. She has it, and she knows what she's doing. And she actually had a student intern this semester from Henderson that I had the opportunity to speak to, I think a week or two before that, because when I went in there, she said, "Hey, I know you." So anyway, she is had the cream of the crop as far as a mentor this semester. And remember these little cards that I gave you last time, and I told you to. So you didn't do your homework yet, so you got to do your homework, okay? To thank a teacher for having impact on their life. Well, this young teacher, Kim's going to put a picture up. You can go to the Department of Education website. She has a thank you for Miss Murphy on there, and we're getting several impact stories, but this is one that you need to listen to, how Miss Murphy has impacted her life, and she's going to go into be a teacher next year, and how she talks about how that her future students are going to still be impacted by what Miss Murphy is doing today. So be sure you go and listen to that and do your homework before next month, okay? Thank a teacher. All right.
Thank you for your report. I'd like to ask, but hopefully not to put you on the spot, Mr. Gosher, but from Ms. Newton's report, which was comprehensive, she stressed that the teachers are going to need skills to be able to teach new science standards. So what is the department doing to ensure that the teachers will be prepared for this new venture?
That's a great question. I happen to be married to a science teacher, and so currently there's not a lot of resources out there. The National Science Teacher Association is providing some great resources addressing some of these standards, but it might be appropriate for Ms. Smith to tell us a little bit beyond what I can say, how we're preparing the teachers as we move forward these Arkansas K-12 science standards.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. But I have to tell a story real quick before I go into that, because I've been sitting over here next to Ivy saying, I think I taught that person. And so, Michelle, come here. Come here. So when he said dripping with greatness, I knew it had to be her, because I had this young lady when she was in 5th grade. And when you talk about teachers who inspire, okay, I'm gonna get emotional here.
Don't do it.
But when you think about students who inspire teachers, it's this young lady right here. Because when I had her in my classroom, she was in a wheelchair. She had braces. You talk about overcoming and making a difference, and boy, she had a mama who pushed her. I'm sorry, I'm making her cry. We're all just going to sit up here and cry. But I am so just, I mean, when I heard you, when you said that you were a teacher, I was like, this is somebody who's going to impact kids and make a difference. And when he said dripping with greatness, I knew that she was who I thought she was. So I'm so proud of you. So absolutely. Okay. So I don't know what I'm going to say about science standards now, because I couldn't hardly listen to anything that Ms. Newton was saying while I was sitting here thinking, I got to go talk to her. But thank you guys. Congratulations. There's a lot of work going on with the science standards, and they're not done. K-8 has been adopted, and those are out there, but the high school science standards are still going on right now, and lots of work is being done there. There has to be some work with our standards of accreditation as we move forward with the proposals that science committee is coming forth with, but there's time for that. We still have 3 years before our high school science courses get implemented. But what we're trying to do as a department is be extremely transparent with the work that committee is doing. We were actually going to bring you the high school standards this summer, but we've postponed that because we felt like we still needed to do some professional development this summer with our high school teachers, continue to hear input from our high school teachers about the new courses that are being developed. The survey for high school courses will be put out in the fall for feedback, and then we'll be looking to bring you guys in the fall some high school courses for approval. But we felt like at this time that we still needed to have some conversations about the directions we were moving. But science is much more than opening the textbooks and regurgitating facts. If you can't get your hands on it, and you can't ask questions about it, and you can't figure out how I'm going to go back and do an experiment to prove my theory, or then we're missing the concept of science. And as we talk about STEM education, whether it's going in a career pathway field or heading on to college, having kids who can problem solve and think is extremely important in the area, not just science, in all areas, but especially in science and those engineering practices.
Okay. One thing that through my tenure on the board, we've had certainly an opportunity to hear from some experts in the field, and I don't know if you guys saw the tax commercial. The gentleman that came, Dr. Lewis Gates, the new standards science guy, was on a commercial and classified as a genius. You know, it's like it doesn't take a genius to do your taxes. Did anybody see that? You know, really? And he was on there. You know, so people would be struggling, and it was just as simple as hitting your iPad, and he'd be the genius trying to tell. But I thought that was interesting that he had been in Arkansas, the genius in science, and introducing the new generation science standards.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Madam Chair, if I might add also the importance of communication. I think, in fact, we're meeting this afternoon. We want to make sure that as we roll out the science standards that we are effectively communicating. I think we've learned a lot of lessons in the past for not engaging everyone in the process. And so Ms. Smith and her team have done a great job, and I think the powerful piece is going to be the effectiveness of our team communicating as we move forward. So any comments on that, Ms. Smith? Or
absolutely. As far as the team of people, Kathy Mackey, Michelle Snyder,
yes,
and Ann Finch are kind of three folks here at the department who've worked tirelessly on these standards. But they have done an excellent job of pulling in science teachers and experts from all over the state.
Great. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Barr.
Well, I just wanted to say, and I appreciate Ms. Newton's report, but just to prepare folks in terms of the reduction in the number of standards. I think folks automatically think, oh, well, that's less, but in science education, less is more, right? In terms of giving folks, giving students more time to really think like scientists, and that is not memorization. That is falling in love with science as a way of thinking. And so I think we're going to have to be prepared for some folks who question the reduction, But having seen at some of these science meetings and working with some of these guys, this is really exciting classroom stuff. When you see the problem solving that goes on in the classroom, and rather than giving students this list of things to memorize, guiding students through the discovery process is just so exciting, and then helping students figure out how to communicate about that. I mean, it's really exciting stuff to watch.
And we have had to change how we are offering professional development in the area of science around these standards. And the cooperatives and the science specialists that are housed at those cooperatives, we have been front-loading for several years now, getting them where they need to be so that they can lead professional development at a high quality that's exactly that, not about standing up and listening, but our teachers are actually in that professional development with their hands in it, so that they can take that back to their classroom.
Further comments? Thank you, Ms. Newton, for your report. Any other additional comments? Lunch is ready, so we're going to break for lunch, and we will return at 12.
Do you teach this afternoon?